hey, time to put your metal to the test now. Bop, 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 up. Hey, don't you know you're messing with the best now? Uh-huh. So
I've made the mistake of watching YouTube Shorts for a bit.
Oh,
because
it's a place for sure.
Yeah, like, you know, you and I, Laura, we both have the ADHD, and things like TikTok, Reels, YouTube Shorts, all of that is designed to either feed it, make it worse, or inflict it on neurotypical people.
I mean,
I think the answer is all three at once.
I do think it is all three. Yeah, I don't have any of that shit on my phone. Like, I won't use it on my phone. I have Instagram, you know, and I do watch some YouTube Shorts, but I only do it from the desktop, where I can't, you know, like, just scroll.
YouTube Shorts is dangerous because for years I've watched YouTube and I've been able to curate enough that the algorithm won't funnel me down some bad pipelines.
Yeah.
And I say this as someone who, we've talked on this podcast before about when I'm in the depression phase of my bipolar. I will go down some bad rabbit holes on YouTube, mostly just like dark subject matter, like crime stuff, or like
show me all the CCTV footage of interrogations or whatever.
Stuff like that, yeah. Shorts, however, is where the algorithm is like, hang on a minute. She doesn't know the context.
Yeah.
Maybe if we just sneak in a little bit of this fucking right-wing nut here, maybe the Rogan sphere will be given a chance if she doesn't know. But how can you not know? Like, I know when fucking Tony Hinchcliffe is on my TV. Like, there's no getting around someone whose entire
unfortunately,
joke is,
so,
right,
yeah.
so you're black. Yeah. It's true.
I hate that I could recognize Tony Hinchcliffe. Like, if I ever saw him in public, I would know who he was and would, like, feel compelled to punch him.
If you think I'm gay, guess what? You're gay. Yeah. Sorry, I love doing impressions of Tony Hinchcliffe. I hate Tony Hinchcliffe.
Kill Tony is, like... I mean, it is in its way, it's genius. For him.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Right?
For a hack comedian. That is the best gig ever. And he is a genius for that.
Yeah. I don't know how he fell into it or had the idea, stumbled into it. I don't know. But it was absolutely the perfect gig for him. But he should do nothing else. And he should do it quietly somewhere far away where other people can't hear it.
We can't hear him croaking throughout the nation. Paul Heyman, the wrestling promoter and manager, always said in the business, accentuate the positives, reduce the negatives. Everything you do needs to play off of that. Like, it needs to be fueled by that to put yourself forward. And that is Kill Tony. For an unfunny comedian. In front of, like, you've got an audience that is there for pain. They're not there to have a nice time. They're there to see someone get destroyed. He doesn't have to tell jokes. He just has... It's a brilliant idea. Like, everything I've like, whatever I think about the Rogan sphere, like that whole right-wing comics, the Austin comedy scene or whatever, I won't fault Kill Tony as a bad idea. But yeah. I bring this up because what I want to complain about has nothing to do with any of this. The most annoying thing came up on YouTube Shorts shortly before we started today's recording. This short plays, and it's nice and nostalgic. Obviously, I get tons of nostalgia filth through this sluice gate. And it's... There was a subtitle on it, like a title. It said, the one game worth buying a PS3 for. and it was wrapped up. The case was wrapped up in masking tape. Really, a lot of it. So it was like they're doing a big unveil here. So you watch this unwinding of this masking tape. Underneath is a used game box, so we still can't see what's in it.
Yeah.
And at this point, I am intrigued. Because there's no way this isn't going to be Haze. There's no way. I was so... I was ready, because I think Haze is... I love Haze. It is so bad. But every now and then I'm like, I really want to replay Haze, because it's so yellow. But this was before, like... this was just before the piss yellow filter thing happened in the 7th generation.
Right.
It had all the dark, moody shit that was on vogue at the time. The brown military shooter, as people called it. But the characters and stuff, like, wore bright yellow, and there was, just yellow themes going through it, and it looked really cool. Anyway, the disc was The Last of Us, and I've never been so fucking disappointed. I'm like, all of that build for the most obvious fucking choice.
For a game that you can buy on PS4 and PS5 as well, in arguably better versions.
Well, I think that was the nostalgia thing coming in. It was like, this was the game.
Oh.
And I'm like, mate, the choices you had.
You weren't the audience. This was done for, like, a 10-year-old. Who's into video games and has no context whatsoever for the PS3.
Well, all I will say is the same algorithm that thinks I should watch clips of Mateo even, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also thinks that I should watch content for 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
This is how pipelines happen. Because 10-year-olds should not be watching the former. But I'm so annoyed because the way it's you say it's for kids, it was framed like nostalgia. It's why I watched. It was framed as, hey, remember this, or remember when the PS3 happened and this was all there was, which isn't true. But I'm so
right.
It didn't have to be Haze. Lair.
Right, no, it could have been it could have been anything that wasn't, like, the most obvious answer.
Lair?
Yeah, no,
I would have popped for Lair. It's
You could have done, like, Resistance Fall of Man, I'd have been alright with it.
Resistance Fall of Man, that one was, I think, because that one was a little more... I think it got decent reviews at the time, even though it is fucking shit.
It would at least have been a game that hasn't been re-released and that was, like, the series hasn't continued, go back and see this, I guess now, retro series or whatever. It would have been something.
Heavenly Sword.
I mean, it could have been Metal Gear Solid 4, and it would have been both true and less of a weird choice.
So I've been very disappointed. Also, I've got tonsillitis.
Yeah.
Which is the second most annoying part of my day.
So you're gonna get your games out the way early this week, so you can go rest that beautiful throat of yours.
Yeah, last week's sore throat, I said it was just the sore throat and no other symptoms. I don't know how obvious the belabored breathing is coming through, but it turns out all of the symptoms of a cold did manifest.
Yeah.
It's just I now contain all the contents of a cold internally, and it's all in my lungs.
Your body did this almost as if to mock you. It's like, oh, only this symptom, correct? Oh, we'll see about
That's
that.
honestly how it felt, because as soon as I got as soon as the breathing became difficult, I am actually just walking is difficult at the moment. Because I'm not getting enough air inside, and that's when my sinuses were like, Oh, did you want that cold? Because we can get cracking on that. And now I'm just dripping, and it's fucking horrible. The sides of my throat swelled up so much that it was it's it's visible on the outside. You can see my neck. I look like Kurt Angle. Like, just my head and neck have formed a big thumb. Some sort of mad toad. It's not great. So, listeners, this sucks. So I'm not going to stick for the duration, but I would have felt terrible if I didn't come on and say hello and get some games out the way. Because I haven't been playing much, but there is one game in particular I do need to talk about.
What do you need to talk about?
I need to talk about the Sinking City 2.
Oh, I did not know this was the thing.
Yes, I believe it came out yesterday. I've been playing it since Monday because I backed it on the Kickstarter. And for those who don't know, The Sinking City, the original, I've talked about it on this podcast. I've done there's an old Jimpressions video on it. It's one of my favourite bad games of all time. I described it and have always described it as the worst game I've ever liked, ? It's so bizarre and eccentric and full of gameplay decisions that I would never have forgiven in a better game. But for some reason, it worked in a bad one, quote unquote. So yeah, very enjoyable, very questionably designed, low budget game. The Sinking City 2, that had a Kickstarter well over a year ago now. And it's good. And when I say that without caveats. It is just good. And I'm impressed. It is a different game than the first. The first one was... It's hard to describe it. An action-adventure, maybe, with horror elements. And it's got a big focus on investigation. The original game never gave you like quest markers or anything. It was a really laborious way to find out where your next objective was. You'd go to like the newspaper, the local paper, and look up news articles from certain dates and go into various registries and things to find addresses, and they still wouldn't be marked. You'd have to constantly check your map. There were no house numbers either. It was always, I'm on the corner of this road and that road. Shit like that. The kind of stuff that I find excruciating. None of that's in this one. What this one is Resident Evil. On a more humble budget, but it is one of the more action-focused Resident Evils. Third-person horror shooter, essentially. Investigation is there vestigially. Mostly useful for like solving puzzles or side quests. Essentially, you get information, usually from in-game documents and stuff, and you pin them up on a board in a menu, and then you can connect them. And that's pretty much it. And it's, for me, that's fine. I think it will disappoint people if they loved Sinking City for the investigation. But for me, I like that. And what I also really like is you can choose almost like a Silent Hill riddle level. It's like, do you want these clues that you get to highlight important text?
Oh, that's so nice.
And show you when you've made the correct connections? Or do you want to, suss it out for yourself? So they've really considered that side of it. And clearly, with the experience they're making, it would have been silly. It would have been straight up stupid to still try and do the investigation stuff. So it does lose some charm in the process. Not just because of that, but because the city is pretty much sunken now. Almost everyone's evacuated. So a lot of the charm of the first one, which was just existing in this ridiculously eccentric place, that's not here anymore. It's not running and talking to strange characters and stuff like that. It is more get on your boat, chug around the sort of flooded roads to get to various places that are still above water as you follow this storyline of the main character trying to wake up his partner who is in some sort of magic coma because of some magic shit they did. And that's it, really. The monsters so far have been fairly standard. They're zombies. They're zombies that are... they're corpses piloted by worms, but they're zombies. And there are the little scrabbly eldritch monsters, the starter monsters from the first game, have shown up. So I know it won't just be zombies, because the game's still like very focused on the Lovecraftian stuff that the first game had. So there's going to be more like proper like monsters. The zombies have weak spots, the like blisters that come up and you shoot them. You destroy one, then another one spawns somewhere, you shoot that, then another one spawns, you shoot that kind of thing. Which is fine. I think I'd prefer it if the combat was just more straightforward with the zombies, if I could just shoot them. There's something about shooting weak points sequentially that feels... For a start, it makes the pistol the only weapon I kind of want to use on those particular monsters. Why would I use a shotgun blast when one pistol bullet like takes out a thing? But I just find it more fun when I'm just doing combat normally instead of trying to pinpoint things on moving targets, especially when there's like 5 or more zombies turning up. The game is challenging so far. Big combat encounters are so capable of wiping out your ammunition and your resources. Not helped by the fact that this game's inventory limit. Like, I know I complain about inventory limits a lot, but so far that's the biggest downside of this game. It is absurd. It is silly how little you can carry at a time. So I don't appreciate that too much. I also don't appreciate that whenever they throw like a big combat encounter where it's wiser to run away, there's normally or so far, there have been instances where there's an optional reward that needs a special key. So I know I've got to get fucking back in there at some point. The point I'm currently paused at, there's some loot that I need to get, and it is through a veritable ocean of monsters. And I don't think I've got the ammo to deal with them. So that's a bit of a thing. But the combat is good. It is good. It is competent, which by the standards of the first game was a high bar. Really atmospheric. That's what's really impressed me about it, is I have not wanted to run through the game because they're really good at building up tension. So I'm like, I genuinely am creeping about sometimes, and they are really good at making like background noises that sound like it could be an enemy. So you're on your toes. And because the enemies are corpses piloted by worms, any corpse could attack you. Most don't. I love that. You get some games where it's either obvious which corpses are going to get you because they look a bit different, or there aren't that many of them, or almost all of them pop up. This is what I praised about that last Bloober Team game as well, Chronos.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I love a game that routinely sets you up to expect trouble and doesn't deliver, so that when you do get that trouble, you are taken aback all the more. You are not you've not become inoculized to it. You may have even gotten a bit complacent, and that's when it springs the trap. That I like. It's not as well done, I think, as Chronos. There are certain bits where it's like, I know if I'm going to pick this key up, then trouble will happen. But for what it is, great. I love it. I'm fairly early days so far, but I think I really am quite taken with it. it's just such a step up in quality in almost every department. Well, no, in every department. And when you consider, like, the game even comes with a disclaimer, like, Frogwares is Ukrainian, and the disclaimer even mentions, like, dev members were drafted during the making of this. And for it to come out as good as it's come out, especially when you compare Stalker 2, which was also Ukrainian and came out and was an absolute shit show, it's just all the more impressive. It's... Yeah, like, obviously it does not look top tier. This is not, you know, multi-million-dollar budgets. But they've still managed to have some really great lighting and environments and like I say, that atmosphere. Just going on the boat, going around these flooded streets. It looks great. At its budget level, it looks great. Yeah, I'll have more thoughts next week, probably. Getting through it has been slower than I'd like because I am so laid up, like I've slept most of today. But I've been rooting for this game because I've got such a soft spot for the first, and I was worried when I heard, like, because I saw some of the pre-release footage they showed off, and they said straight up, like, this is very different from the first, and I'm like, well, that might not go so well. And yeah, even though so far the charm is not as evident as the first one, I'll take a good game in its place, you know? Yeah, solid horror so far, and I'm really pleased about that.
Nice.
Is there anything else you played that you want to chat about, or is that your big one for this week?
After I stopped talking, I had to put my hand around my throat.
Yeah, go.
Because the sides have hurt from talking.
Go have a rest. It's been great to have you.
Yeah.
We love you. Rest well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And to just throw in my quick thing of, if it should be cleared up because I'm on antibiotics now. So health permitting, I'll be in Salford, Manchester, August 30th. Pinfall Wrestling.
Heck yeah.
Come have a look if you want. Thank you all so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.
I should talk about some stuff I've played, probably, because from what I hear, you've played one thing, and we can guess what that thing is.
Yeah. We know what that is.
I've not played a huge number of things, but I'm going to start by talking about my maybe grumble, maybe I've put a deadline on myself, my self-imposed gaming deadline that has now shaped my gaming choices for the next little while. So, I gotta talk about Pokémon Bank on the 3DS. When the Nintendo Switch came out, they made a thing called Pokémon Bank on the 3DS that was like you pay like $5 a year for it, and it was like essentially paid online storage for your Pokemon, and you could store your Pokemon in there if you didn't want to risk like losing the cartridge that the Pokemon were on and losing them forever. But it also acted as a way to move your Pokemon from the 3DS to the Switch. You could move them from Pokemon Bank on the 3DS to Pokemon Home on the Switch. And that's your way of moving them across generations. Basically, every Pokemon game, I think as far back as Generation 3, you can technically move from GBA to DS to 3DS to Switch and move them forward. A little while ago, it might have been like a year or two ago now, the 3DS eShop got shut down by Nintendo, but the one thing they left live for, quote, the indefinite future was Pokémon Bank. It was no longer a paid service. If you downloaded it before they shut down the 3DS servers, you would have access to it until whatever time in the future they decided to shut it off. And we now have a date for that. That date is about 6 months from now, on February 26th, 2027, which is a very specific date, but it's the day before Pokemon Day that they do every year, which is the anniversary of the Japanese release dates for the original games. It's when they tend to do their big Nintendo Direct for the year of, like, here's what's coming in the new Pokemon games, probably when we're going to get more information on the Gen 10 titles. So there's, like, 6 months left in which, if there's a Pokemon that is currently exclusive to something prior to the Switch that you can't currently catch in a Switch generation game, and you want to move it forward to the Switch, you got a 6-month window now. And that's relevant because I shiny hunt in Pokemon. I am trying to get one shiny Pokemon of every possible species in the series. Of the 1,025 species, there's I think 24 or so that are unable to be shiny anywhere. And of those, other than those, put those aside, I have all but, I think, 29 species of shiny Pokemon now, which are mostly ones that can only be earned on the DS and 3DS games. So I now have 29 shiny Pokemon that I need to shiny hunt in the next 6 months on the older games where it might take a little longer than it would on some of the Switch games, or I physically won't be able to get those Pokemon in shiny form and move them over to the Switch, to my current collection, in future. And like, I say this, I know that at some point probably future games will have some of those missing Pokemon, and I will at some point down the line have an opportunity to shiny hunt them. I don't doubt that the Swellow line of Pokemon from, like, Gen 4 could show up in, like, winds and waves, and I could catch them shiny there down the line, but I don't know that for certain, and I am too autistic to live in that kind of uncertainty, so I'm very much locked into, I got 6 months, I gotta catch all these Pokemon now, I gotta do it. I've been putting off doing the 3DS ones, because they're gonna take me a little more time, a little less convenient. Fuck it, I gotta start hunting them now. I have had a weirdly productive day today on that front. Literally, I started today with 31 shiny Pokemon I needed.
I was going to say, we started this conversation with 31. I was listening, you said 29. I was
so
like,
I realized
changed?
It was 31 this morning, 30 when we started the call. I'd forgotten that I'd caught a Gorbis this morning. I caught a shiny Kartana, which is one of the Ultra Beasts from Ultra Sun and Moon, during the podcast today. The shiny odds for it would be somewhere around 1 in 1,000. I got it in fewer than 50 resets
Wow.
during the podcast today. I cannot guarantee those kind of odds for all of them. Every time I'm looking at this going, 29 remaining Pokemon in 6 months should be pretty attainable, unless I have a shiny hunt like some of the Nightmare ones I've had. There was Regidrago is a Pokemon that was in the DLC for Sword and Shield. Statistically, it should have been somewhere in the region of around 4,000 resets to find a shiny one of this Pokemon. I took well over 22,000 resets to find it.
Oof.
It was a shiny hunt and the Switch era Pokemon games are not quick to soft reset in. That was a good, 13 months of trying to shiny hunt that one Pokemon. So for every time I have, in the space of, the 20 minutes we've been recording a podcast, I've managed to do a shiny hunt in under 50 resets, I'm like, yeah, but that's not going to be all of them. Fucking no, is it?
No, and it just makes the risks associated with those much lesser, because now you've freed up, in terms of the calculation of available time, that much more time.
Exactly. So I'm currently I'm having to very quickly remind myself, what are the shiny hunting methods in the remaining games that I'm trying to do? The Ultra Sun and Moon, which is the one I'm focusing on right now, there's 2 basic strategies depending on what I'm hunting for. If I'm hunting for a legendary, there is a whole minigame that I am shit at that I'm having to get much better at, where you fly on the back of a Pokemon, collecting energy orbs to keep flying further, and dodging portals until you see a portal that's the correct colour and far enough away from your starting point that it might have the legendary in it you need. Once I actually find the correct portal, it's just a case of soft resetting the game, and that's not too bad. But I'm shit at this portal minigame, and it's why I've been putting off these shiny hunts. I'm having to get good at that minigame very quickly. I kind of like the other method for hunting for shinies in this game for regular Pokemon, which is you get one Pokemon in a one-on-one encounter, you get its health low, and you basically intimidate it into calling for backup, and it will call another species of that Pokemon to help to help it in the fight. You knock out the one that it calls in for backup, and it gets scared and calls in another one for backup. and you're trying to basically create a chain of how many times have you knocked out their support and kept them calling for backup. The thing you have to keep in mind is you have to know how many uses of each move the Pokemon that you're scaring into calling backup has, because that puts a hard limit on how many turns. Basically, when it runs out of moves, it'll start damaging itself, and that'll end your ability to do the chain. So you want to, roughly when it's about to run out of moves, you kill that one, and you make one of the fresh ones. Yeah, you make the fresh one, you get that down to low health, and you make that be the one that starts calling for help. You'll have, a temporary drop in your shiny odds when you switch from your previous one to the fresh one, but it means that you don't have to, seek out that Pokemon and start the whole process over again. So yeah, I enjoy that method, SOS hunting, I think is genuinely really fun. It's a method I would be happy to see return in future games. It's one I find enjoyable. I wish there wasn't a dexterity-based minigame tied to my shiny hunting of legendaries, but if there was ever a time for me to get good at a dexterity-based task, I guess it's now.
A deadline will do a lot. Yeah.
A deadline will do a lot, particularly when you've got the kind of ADHD where having a deadline, that little bit of cortisol does great for getting me to get on with shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, other than that, I've been playing a bit of Pokemon in various regards. This has reminded me, I resent Pokemon Go, and I'm going to talk about Pokemon Go here for a minute. There's a couple of shiny Pokemon that, at this point in time, are realistically only attainable in Pokemon Go, unless you're a literal time traveler. I've talked previously about Shiny Mew. The only way other than Pokemon Go to get Shiny Mew was to, in the late 90s, early 2000s, either keep visiting the Pokemon Center store or the Nintendo store in New York for 6 days in a row for, 1 week they were doing a promotion where you had a random chance of maybe getting Shiny Mew, or a similar event they did in Korea to maybe get a Shiny Mew from a theme park. If you weren't in either of those places in 99 or 2000, Pokemon Go was the only way to get Shiny Mew, and even then it was pay real money to the devs behind Pokemon Go to get access to a quest that was only available to pay them that money during a short period of time a few years ago, to then do a very lengthy and, deliberately obtuse quest line to eventually unlock that Pokemon. I'm currently doing that with one other shiny. It's a Jirachi that a year ago I gave him a $5 for access to a quest that had shiny Jirachi available, because the only other way to get shiny Jirachi is honestly kind of fucking bullshit. Now, I won't get into it here, but it's not a fun shiny hunt that I would ever want to do. I'm a year into having access to this quest, and I still don't have my shiny Jirachi from Pokemon Go. I am a year into having paid the money to get this Pokemon, and I am on stage 1 of 6 of trying to get this stupid Pokemon.
Oh my gosh.
Stage 1 is catch 385, because that's the Pokedex number for this Pokemon. Catch 385 Pokemon that were originally found in a specific generation of the game, originally Hoenn Gen 3 Pokemon. And in my local area, that generation of Pokemon apparently just doesn't ever fucking spawn. So, I'm 60 spawns away still from hitting that number before I can do the other tasks they want me to do. I'm
God.
It's so frustrating being random chance simply has not given me the tools. A year of intermittently playing this. I should not have to be playing for more than a year to unlock a single Pokemon I paid the money for.
That's just yeah.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
No, because the only alternative, and this is where my brain's at this week, so I'm gonna info dump at you. The only other way to get a shiny Jirachi involves having Pokemon Colosseum on the GameCube had a bonus disc that some copies were sold with that would give you an egg that would hatch a Jirachi in the Game Boy games. But that egg would be coded to never be shiny for the person that, whatever account you sent it from the GameCube to the Game Boy Advance, that Game Boy Advance save file, that Jirachi would never be shiny. The intention was you would you hatch this egg, see if it's shiny. If not, reset your save so you've still got it as an egg. Trade it to another player. They hatch it, see if it's shiny. If not, reset their save so it's an egg again. Trade it to someone else. Until you find a trainer who matches the trainer ID that will make it be shiny, so it's shiny for them. Or have 2 copies of the Game Boy Advance game and do the thing of, like, hatch it, see if it's shiny, make it an egg again. Start a new save file on another copy of the game. Play, like, the 20 minutes you need to get access to trading. Trade it to your other save, see if it's shiny. If not, start a new save file on the other game, play 20 minutes. 20 minutes-ish per attempt to see if it's shiny, for a thing that's 1 in 4,000 odds of being shiny. 20 minutes per reset is like... that. Theoretically, that is a way I could have gotten a shiny Jirachi without paying Pokemon Go money. But with 6 months to go before Pokemon Bank access ends, fuck no, I'm not spending that 6 months hunting the Wishmaker Jirachi. I'm gonna go for the other 29 and get this bullshit in Pokemon Go that I resent making me pay the money, and then a year later still not letting me have the Pokemon.
Oh.
I love Pokemon, but occasionally They put things in place that make me go, oh god, this feels like a job right now, and I gotta turn, my hobby's got a deadline.
Yep. Yeah.
And I love it, but I do wish I could do it at my own time. I do wish that there wasn't now a little ticking clock, as much as the ticking clock is making me make progress.
Yeah, it all makes me glad that I want nothing to do with this.
Yeah, I admit this is a very niche complaint I have.
But I mean, it is an example of a situation that does affect a minority of people, but when it affects them severely.
The thing,
and I think that's interesting.
Yeah, the thing I think of is, I can't imagine it costs Nintendo or the Pokemon Company much at all to keep Pokemon Bank up. And sure, it's not going to affect many people shutting it down, but the people it's going to affect are some of your most fucking hardcore supporters. The people who are by far the most invested people in your ecosystem are going to be the people this puts pressure on. And it's interesting to think about, was there a discussion in the boardroom of that dynamic?
And it's entirely, like, it's not outside the realm of possibility that they introduce an improved replacement for this system that allows for it.
I fully expect the solution to this will be, over the next 18 months, they recently put Fire Red and Leaf Green, so the remakes of Gen 1 on the Switch, as, like, overpriced ROMs. I imagine they're probably going to do that for everything through the 3DS. Like, I imagine over the next 2 years it's going to be the Game Boy Advance games, the DS games, the 3DS games. They'll find a way to get you to pay $30 a pop for ROMs of those old games, so that you can just put the Pokemon Direct in home rather than needing bank transfer. Like, that's probably going to be the method, but I kind of wish they would just announce that. Like, now that they've said bank is going away, I would prefer it if they had paired that with, and here is how those Pokemon will be accessible in the future.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But yeah, how's everything as Crab going?
There was an update.
Oh!
So they've added a few new evolutions, and those are fun. One of the enemies in the game has a tail. It's a lizard and has a little tail, and it shoots out at you and it stuns you, and it's a neat attack, but you don't get it. Most of the other attacks in the game were reflected, you could also acquire them, and this was an exception, and I'm sure they'd always planned to get it in there, and now it's in there, and it's so much fun. Like, it's a really functional, useful ability, and one that I'd always be excited when I would befriend one of those lizards, because then I knew that in combat I had a real advantage, because that little motherfucker, timed right, could interrupt a really dangerous attack from a boss.
That's so nice.
Yeah, and now I can do it too. And
Yay!
so it's been fun. I'm enjoying enjoying playing with that. And but it's it's still the same thing. I'm still just playing the game here and there, for an hour or two. Get a few runs in. I don't have really anything else to say. What else have you played?
Not a lot that I can talk about. I've been playing stuff for work that I'll talk about at some point, I'm sure. But I did check out the demo for a game called HYPERDROP, a Pachinko roguelite. This is being published by Devolver. It is what it says on the tin. Aesthetically, it looks like what was the old 360 era game? Geometry Wars. That aesthetic of neon with a bit of a the color sort of glows off of the bright neon core of the shapes that you're interacting with. It's a really nice, very striking visual style. And basically, Pachinko, for anyone who doesn't know, you drop a ball down, it hits pegs on the way down and sort of goes down the bottom of the screen. Here, you are trying to score points by giving abilities to the different pegs on the board, so that if the ball bounces around and hits that specific peg, it will do a thing. Those things will give you more balls, do more things to your balls, help you score points. You have a certain number of ball drops in which to earn enough points. Then you get offered some more upgrades to stick on more pins. Onward you go. Things that I really appreciate about the demo for this, and I don't know whether these are going to be the case in the finished game, but I very much hope so. In the demo, you start a run by picking one of, I think there's 8 or 9 of them, different starter packs of, a starter bundle of items that synergize with each other a little bit. And they're themed around things. So, one of them is pegs that will sort of time delay the ball or make the ball rewind in time. Some that are to do with creating, really big explosions. There's one that's to do with, making balls become more bouncy or split into other balls more frequently. And, you pick one of these and you know that the first handful of pegs you place on the board are all going to give you a basic level of synergy to start with. So you're not worrying about, will I get things that fundamentally work together? I like that there's also tools there for mitigating either bad decisions you made early in a run, or bad luck just completely fucking you over in a bad moment. You have a limited number of times per run where you can take an item that you've placed on a specific peg, and you can just swap it to somewhere else, or swap its positions with another item on the board, so that you can have a little bit of rearranging when, something you put out early game no longer is serving you by where it's placed. You also have a limited number of opportunities to just completely rewind the ball and drop it somewhere else if you had just a really shit batch of luck from how it bounced around on the pins. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this. There's a lot of really fun little synergies that can be set off. Some examples of things the pegs might do include throw out 3 other smaller balls in, predictable directions. Sort of, there'll be a triangle and, you'll know which 3 directions those new balls will go. You could then, for example, set up other pegs that you know those balls will definitely hit, to have other things, go off after that. There's one that I really like where the ball will keep, after it's hit this peg, it'll keep going for about 2 seconds, and then rewind to that peg, and then start going again. So you place that above some things that you want to be hit multiple times, and you've got a good chance of that happening. You've got modifiers to your balls, so you can have them be, extra bouncy, or less bouncy. You can have them have, a little parachute on them, so they fall more slowly, so there's more time for things to happen. And all of the visual effects, as I say, are it's very Geometry Wars, in that everything is just colourful neon sparks and explosions and particle effects, and it doesn't take too long at all for it to be very satisfying. I need to put more time into it. I want to play around with more of these starter synergies and see where some of those build directions go. But yeah, it's a fun little demo. I'm glad I gave it a go.
I used to be really into Peggle.
Yeah.
I think everybody of a certain age was really into Peggle for a while. And
yeah.
That sounds good.
I will say, there is not as much control of where you launch the ball as there is in Peggle. Like,
Sure, well, it's more
yeah.
Pachinko-like, yeah.
There's a little bit of it. So, for anyone who's played Peggle, in that game, your ball, like, starts from a central point at the top of the screen, and you pick, like, a direction to fire it in. In this, the ball is moving left to right, and by default, if you just press a button, it'll drop down where it is when you press the button. But you can use an analog stick to give it a little bit of an arc left or right. You don't have as much direction, and you don't get as much like feedback of the way that Peggle will show you, like, oh, it'll hit this peg and it'll bounce off like quite reliably in this direction. So it's a little bit more random. But I'd say you have a good 45 degrees of you can launch like from a point at an angle if that's going to help with what you're trying to do. So there is a little bit of that Peggle control. It's definitely minimized a bit, but some of it's there. But yeah, it's very promising. Cool. I'm glad I gave that a look. Otherwise, the main thing I've been playing is I've been playing through Lies of P. I talked about this a little bit. This is the Pinocchio Soulsborne. The Switch 2 port of that came out recently. I got sent review code. I maintain, now that I'm a good chunk of the way into replaying it, because I'm trying to get to the DLC section, that game runs beautifully on Switch 2. It is maybe the best performing current generation Switch 2 port I've played. It looks really good in handheld at 40 FPS. It looks really good docked at 60. But the big thing, as someone that's just like, I kind of want to, I want to remind myself of the mechanics, but I don't want to be like super challenged trying to get to the DLC. I'm like, you can turn the difficulty up when I get there. I've so appreciated the new difficulty options that have been added in. If you want, you can make this game not at all resemble a Souls-like in terms of difficulty. There are so many options to make this game infinitely easier if you are just someone who likes the setting and wants to play it like a kind of overpowered action game. If you are just trying to, like, level grind in order to, like, I know I've beaten this boss before and I just want to get its items so I can upgrade my thing before I go fight something that's, like, actually going to be a challenge I want to face. It's made revisiting this to get to the DLC really easy. It's been really nice. I've been turning the difficulty up and down as and when I feel like having a challenge versus I just want to get some resources and make some progress on a second playthrough. It's been reminding me of the things I like about how Square Enix's re-releases of Final Fantasy games tend to be, where you can just really make them, you can really story mode them if you want, and it's nice to see a Souls-like game not be afraid to be an easy game.
That's nice. Yeah.
Should we talk about this fucking Saber CEO bullshit?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah, do you want to kick us off on this?
No, I don't actually, because you've actually, I popped in on this like as it was happening. I opened up Blue Sky. I love my relationship to social media now.
Yeah.
Now that I like truly just don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
And you know, like Twitter was where I had fun. I enjoyed Twitter. And Blue Sky, it's just not the same. As much as we would like to pretend it's the same, it's not. And that's for the best. But it also means I'm no longer really compelled, so I spend no time there. I open it up and look at it when I think of something that I want to post, and then I might glance for like 3 seconds just at whatever's at the top of my feed, and then I close the window and I move on with my life. But I did, because when it was happening, it was, of course, everybody that I might follow was reposting this story. I saw it was happening. I thought, oh my. Oh, this is dumb.
Yeah, so for anyone who's not caught wind of this one, this all began when Stella Sacco made a post on Blue Sky about a game called Rideshare Stimulator. Not Simulator, Stimulator. I still don't know exactly what that means. What that means in this context. Posted about this game, saying, quote, "I didn't even see this had been announced. I was lead writer on this one, and Saber Interactive replaced me with ChatGPT midway through development. All the passenger voices were AI too. Either they changed direction at some point, or they're not disclosing it on Steam. So, maybe a little bit in breach of non-disclosure stuff after leaving, possibly, but made a very valid allegation, which is that this game is making use of AI and not declaring it on Steam, a thing that Valve requires of developers. Now, this got messy really fucking quickly. So, the evening after this was posted, Saber Interactive's co-founder and CEO, Matthew Karch, responded, quote, "I would frankly, in retrospect, have been happy to replace her with AI. At least we would be dealing with someone programmed to be honest." He also, in the same statement, said he had no idea who she was and had never heard of her before, which, it feels in contrast to say you've never heard of this person and don't know who they are, but also, you definitely know that, it would be good to replace her with AI because she's patently dishonest. It's a whole mess of a statement. So she then responds to this with, I think, a very classy response. That statement is remarkably pathetic for the CEO of any company to be making, and combined with the AI use, it will do far more damage to Saber's reputation than it ever could mine. The CEO keeps retweeting or reposting his own fucking response. He thinks he's fucking absolutely slam dunked this with his, I didn't even fucking know who she was, but even if I did, she's a fucking liar who should be replaced with ChatGPT. So we'll pause here. There's more story to come, but how are you feeling so far?
It's the cognitive dissonance. That's I've never heard of this person, but if I had, they would have it's even in the statement, he's immediately contradicting himself in such an obvious way as to look so stupid. And it just cracks me up every time I hear it. Just absurd.
Yeah. So then we got to the stage where, behind closed doors, an apology had happened. I'll read from. We don't have the actual email that he sent to Saka, but we do have her recounting of it. Last night, to my great surprise, I received a long email from Saber Interactive CEO Matt Karsh. He apologised unreservedly for the awful way he spoke about me in the press. The email's full text will stay between us. I'm not that kind of girl, but I've confirmed it was from him. He said he regretted escalating and how people online were speaking about me.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, as she points out in this statement, Matt fueled the flames on the idea that one of the accusations he was making in other statements, because he couldn't fucking shut his mouth about this, was he basically suggested, this isn't the first time Sako has called out a former employer, so it must be lies and she must love drama or be hard to work with.
Maybe the industry just sucks.
Yeah,
have you considered that possibility?
Her response is, bad treatment is everywhere in the games industry. I'm just more willing than some others to call out the bullshit that happens to me. Other people don't do it because shit like what you did happens. And I'm like, yeah, that's totally fair. This Saber CEO, some of the bullshit he was throwing around before doing this apology got so messy. He did admit to the AI usage. Did you hear his excuse of what the plan was with the AI?
No.
So he alleged, and I'm paraphrasing this, he alleged the plan was for the game's writing to be done by AI, or at least the rest of it after she left to be done by AI, and he wanted it to be an award-winning level of writing. He didn't want to announce on Steam that it had AI writing, because he wanted it to win a writing award, and then when it won an award for its writing, he would be able to step out on stage and go, that writing was actually done by AI. The AI was an award-winning writer, and make a point about AI being some point about AI. And this is what, initially, this is why he said he was so angry at Sako, she's ruined the surprise. She's ruined my ability to, like, win an award for AI writing, and then give AI the credit for the award.
I mean, the plan was foolproof. He absolutely would have gotten away with it if it weren't for this meddling kid.
And for the fact that AI writing was probably never going to win a fucking writing
that's
award.
The thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is such a... Like, the very well-written games don't win the award. See, that's how it works. So, like, your game already would have to be so excellent. And, you know, obviously, he's the CEO of the company that makes the game. He's going to think his game's amazing. And clearly, like, he, just based on what we've discussed here, has some issues identifying quality. That's just, you know, based on his communication skills, we can sort of see that maybe he might not be the best judge on a technical level. So... This was never going to... He was never going to win an award.
Yeah, and, like, even if he did, like, you have to give an amount of credit to the person who put the fucking work in that the AI is making stuff on top of. You can't just pretend that there was never a writer.
And also, it is bold, incredibly bold to think that the reaction to the AI reveal is the one you want.
Yeah.
You know.
So that's fun. We haven't even finished this story yet.
Oh god.
So when interviewed by IGN, the guy from Saber was like, "Oh, we'll update the Steam page when the game's finished. We'll update the Steam page when the game comes out." And then enough backlash happened that they updated the Steam page now.
Well, was it available for pre-order?
It is.
Oh, well, gee, then maybe they should have the fucking disclosure on there.
Yeah.
My god.
So here's the official line on Steam as to how they used AI. The main campaign, story, characters, and dialogue are written by a team of human writers. AI tools are used for voice generation and some localization. The optional free ride mode includes AI-generated passenger missions and localized dialogue. Free ride mode is separate from the main campaign and can be skipped by players who prefer to experience only human-written narrative content. Except it can't, because you've admitted that you've used AI for translation and voice generation in the main mode.
Yeah.
The main mode has AI voices and localization, so they can't ignore AI in the main mode. The game also includes a mix of radio stations featuring human-made music and AI-generated music. Stations containing AI-generated music are clearly labeled as such in the game. So yeah, basically he's trying to like distance himself from the idea that like, oh, we didn't fire her to put AI in the game. We fired her and used AI to make text that's different, and the AI is like a little bit avoidable in some cases. So like, it's a nothing story anyway. Don't even worry about it. You can buy our game if you have a moral stance against AI in creative works. You can still pay us money for our game. Just don't tune into the AI radio station and don't play the AI mode and don't play it in non-English and turn off the voice acting so you don't hear AI voices. Perfect answer.
Wow. Oh. I am just grateful that the consumer response to this is bad and only getting worse. That gives me hope that, because you know it is gonna be in code bases, you know, and it's gonna. We do have to acknowledge on some level, not necessarily accept or like, but acknowledge that it's gonna be in places, and
yeah.
You know, and it's not that there aren't valid uses for some of these systems. I just don't think they should be wielded by me or you.
Yeah.
Or, you know, or people
mean...
who don't need to compare massive amounts of test results and shit like that.
Yeah,
Like, there's
I maintain it is amazing the work that AI systems are able to do for things like cancer detection. The
Mhm.
fact that we can have glasses for people who are blind that will describe to them what is in front of them so that they can get a hopefully accurate readout of visual things that they can't see. Great that that exists. This doesn't need to be technology that, like, supposed creatives are leaning on rather than just fucking creating shit themselves.
yes.
God, it's
it's
frustrating.
it's even disrespectful to the technology itself to be deployed
Yeah.
in this way. It's remarkable how they've. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got one other story, and I think it's worth sharing just because it's nice when there is clear advice from people impacted on how to navigate workers' rights issues in games. So the union that's currently existing for all of the fired Rockstar workers that are trying to work for making that their unfair dismissal claims against Rockstar, but also trying to work for just better working conditions for other Rockstar staff. That union has come forward recently. Sorry, my brain is terrible today.
No
We'll get
problem.
The Independent Workers Union of Great Britain, that represents those workers, has come forward to talk about what stance they would like people to take with GTA 6 coming out in the near future. Because I think a lot of people who care about what's the mistreatment of those workers, the default stance, if we hadn't heard anything, would be boycott the game, assume that that is probably the best thing you can do for those workers. They've come out and said that their stance is, don't boycott GTA 6, fight for justice for the people who made it.
Sure.
To summarize their stance, they're like, look, for any terrible things with that company, we put years of our life into working on this, and we would like people to see the shit that we were absolutely exploited while making, but we don't want people not to see the work we worked so hard on. What you can do if you want to help us is, we've released a shirt, the money from that will go to helping support the union's legal case. Buy a shirt, support the union. I'm like, cool. I would have been more than happy to boycott. I don't know if I'll play this fucking game, but I appreciate them having a clear stance of this is what we would ideally like to see from people who give a shit, is financially support us so that we can do something about the legal wrongs that have happened to these workers and future workers.
I think that's great. I think if I were doing that, campaign, and it was, like, feasible to do that, I would try to sell that shirt for the, like a recommended donation that is the price difference between the standard and full version.
Oh my
GTA
god!
6.
Let me have a look at
It's
what.
probably not enough money to, but God, that'd be good.
Let me find the shirt and see whether they're comparable prices. You know what, comrade? They're pretty much the same fucking price.
God bless.
Yeah,
God
I don't know how
bless.
deliberate that was, but it really does seem to, yeah. Also, it's just a cool shirt. The shirt design is IWGB Game Workers, and I'm like, hell yeah, I'll wear a union-affiliated t-shirt. So yeah, that'll probably do for us for this week, I reckon.
Oh, well. Laura,
Mm-hmm.
I did not come up with any thoughtful sort of transition into asking you where people can find you. So where can people find you?
People can find me at Laura K Buzz pretty much everywhere on the internet. Blue Sky, Patreon, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, all of those sort of places. But there's at least one other place you can find me at the moment that I want to talk about. You can find me on Blue Sky at raiseandrebuild.bluesky.social. This is the indie development cooperative that I am a co-founder of that has recently announced we exist. Other founders include Tanya DePass, Tarja Porca Conturi, Ian Schreiber, and others. We brought together a bunch of equally like-minded lefty socialist types that want to come and ethically make games together. A big part of the focus of what we're doing is trying to make sure that we have, like, we have thought about, like, financially and work expectation-wise how to, as ethically as possible, work on making games together. A lot of the people at the studio are people who have come from either being laid off in all of the recent waves of layoffs in the games industry we've been talking about, or from being exploited at AAA game studios, and we want to try and do things better. It's going to be a while before we are ready to talk about what we're working on, but we are currently in the very fun stage of playing around with prototypes for some promising ideas and working out which direction we want to go with stuff. Keep an eye on Raise and Rebuild Studio, raiseandrebuild.bluesky.social. I'm really fucking excited about the stuff we're working on there. I genuinely could not have hoped for a cooler group of people to try and make some games with, and I'm very excited to eventually be able to show people what we're working on.
I am so excited about this. The people involved are really cool.
Yeah.
And, I'm thrilled for you.
We haven't announced all the people we're working with yet. We're rolling some of these out over time, but there are some really fucking cool people we're working with that I can't wait to talk about, and we've got a lot of talent, and I am very excited about the stuff that we're prototyping at the moment and the directions we might go. So, yeah, go check that out. What about you, Conrad? Where are you out on the internet?
You can find me at Conrad Zimmerman on Blue Sky, and you can hang out with me on Twitch at twitch.tv/thatconradzimmerman on Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays. You can buy anti-capitalist propaganda and Jimquisition merchandise at mercenarycreative.com. Got the Piracy It's a Crime spoof shirt about AI. That I finally got it as a shirt. I struggled with the design a bit because the text looked too flat, but I found a way that I kind of like. It's a fun one. You can check that out. It's on tote bags too. And everything I do online gets supported through Patreon at patreon.com/fistshark. And you know who else has a Patreon, Laura?
Who?
Stephanie does.
I should have guessed.
Right? Yeah, should have guessed. Patreon.com/Jimquisition. You can check them out on Instagram and Blue Sky at Commander Sterling. Keep up on what they're doing. Wish them well. Let's see, what else? Check out their work in Vampire Survivors, Date Everything, Quantum Witch. What is... And, Wrestling, Manchester, August 30th. So go see that too. I think that's at pinfallwrestling.com.
Yeah.
And if it's not, don't blame me.
If not, rewind the episode. Listen to the plug earlier.
Yeah, I don't think she did. But that's it for us. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.